Hello, hello. Give the
How
people
you
your name
doing?
and pronouns, please.
Okay. I'm AJ Scruggs, otherwise known as the Lavender Bandit. My pronouns are he, him, they, them, and king. Please use them all. Just use my name.
Now, friend, are you interested? Because we talked behind the scenes, and I know that you had something in particular you wanted to address. But do you want to be featured? Are you willing to be featured as well? All right. Well, we're gonna
Absolutely.
keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Give the people your age and zodiac sign.
I am 35 years old, just turned 35 a week ago. And I am a
And
full-blooded
where are you
Capricorn.
from? Where are you from? Where are you located? What's going on?
I'm actually in Philadelphia. Grew up in Jersey. Lived in Baltimore for a little bit, so I'm an East Coast boy down to my soul.
Okay, I dig it. What's your sexual orientation from?
Uh, uh, Queer. So anything that's not heterosexual.
He said, "Don't box me with them people, honey." Um, and what do you do for a living?
I am the founder and executive director of Visible T 365, which is my own nonprofit organization where we connect Black trans folks to growth opportunities, whether that's spiritual, professional, or personal. And I also do a lot of community work nationally with different organizations like Take. I have worked for TGIJP in California. I also work with a lot of other organizations like Uncloak down in the comments. I see you, nephew, and a bunch of other transmasculine organizations to help build capacity so that we are out here doing the work as we should, just
Ow.
like our sisters.
Are you single?
I am not, but I'm
Oh,
polyamorous.
shucks. Oh. Um, why poly? I'm curious.
I realized that as a person that you can't and shouldn't put place all of your expectations on one person. Um, I realized that every relationship that you have serves a different purpose in your life, and not all intimate relationships are romantic relationships, if that makes sense. So where I may have a friend that I feel completely comfortable with cuddling with and there's nothing sexual there, I cherish that relationship as if I would a romantic relationship, because all of my relationships are important to me. So I'm allowed to explore that. And also, it's not all sexual when it comes to polyamory. So it's a deeper connection for me. And I'm allowed to explore that without limits on myself.
Absolutely agree on that. I feel like we should never have limits on things that don't affect other people. Um, you said, can you repeat that phrase for me? You said that all relationships that are intimate aren't affectionate. Is that what you?
All relationships that are intimate all
Oh
aren't
yeah,
always
yeah,
romantic or
very
sexual.
true. And you also said that for you, being poly is not always a sexual thing.
Yeah, that's that. For me, I guess I value more than just physicality of a relationship. I value somebody that cares enough to, say, hey, have you taken your meds today? Have you done, have you worked out this week? Have you done all of those things? And sometimes I realize that my partner has a life of their own. So like that may come from somebody else and I shouldn't feel guilty because that's coming from somebody else and it's not taking away from what my partner can
But
provide me.
if the relationships aren't sexual or romantic, you would still consider that part of, you would still consider that like a polyamor, you would consider that to make you polyamorous?
Because there's this kind of like there's no hierarchy in the relationship department. So when it comes to the person that I'm most romantic with and I may start building a life with, it doesn't make the other partner like any less valuable in that relationship for me. Um, it, I just value it in a different way, if that makes sense. So I never love any of my partners the same way. I love them differently. So like it's never this thing of, oh, you need to love me the way that you love them. It's it's I love you this way because this is the way that you said that you need to be loved, and I'm allowed
I
to
get that
explore that
part,
without.
but what I'm curious about,
Yeah.
because like with me, for example, I have a very intimate friend group. I have a small friend group, but we're very close, and those relationships mean a lot to me. But that wouldn't make me polyamorous, would it?
No, and I also think that dating is a part of it too. That people don't even think about. Like, if you don't consider you going out with friends for lunch a date, then that's true for you. But I may consider me and my friend that I cuddle with going out to eat as a date, where it's going to differ. It's going to be different for each and every individual person or persons involved in that
Okay, so I
that
got
kind
it.
of
You,
relationship.
for me, in my friendships, I'm non-romantic, completely non-romantic in those friendships. But you're saying that you have friendships that are romantic, but not necessarily sexual. Okay, all right, I got you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It makes more sense now. Maybe I confused myself.
No, I think I used romantic when I didn't mean to. So it may be my part. Hey, baby.
So how long? How how many partners do you have now, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, right now I have one. Um, I actually just got out of a relationship with my ex-boyfriend, who was another trans man, and we decided to split. I was not happy about it, but we
Hold on,
decided to
just
split,
you just
and
breeze
our
past that. You we did not know that
I told you I wasn't, I
we
wasn't
did not know
heterosexual.
that you were a trans man. You just said that you were not a heterosexual man and that you were open to various pronouns. We have plenty cisgender men who come on here and say the same thing. So I just wanted to give a
Oh,
shout out
my bad.
that you're a trans brother. I just didn't want to breeze past that. But I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. So you said you recently just got out of a relationship with your ex-boyfriend.
Mhm. And we decided that it's just easier for us to be friends, and just like, and that's my guy. Like, I love him to death still, and I think I value him a little bit more now, that we've been able to communicate that, what, this isn't working. I support him and his girlfriend. I love them to death, and it's just, polyamory for me allowed me to learn how to communicate, because if you don't, everything will blow up. So like, it did the one thing that monogamy was never able to do, which was to actually allow me to be open and be able to communicate more effectively, because I'm realizing that there is way more than just myself involved. It's way more than just one person involved. I have to worry about everybody. And if I'm going to be this guy, I have to be very upfront about how I feel, what my needs are, and be able to communicate that, and also be able to listen. Because it's one thing to you have your cake, eat it too, but you
Oh
also have
yeah,
to be able
yeah,
to listen.
because you can very easily destroy relationships and ultimately destroy your reputation because the queer community is a lot smaller than we want to believe it is. So, were you were you single before you met your current partner, or did you already know them before breaking up with your ex-boyfriend?
So my partner that I'm with now, we actually were together when I met my boyfriend. So we were actually friends first. Actually, Mixed Salacious down there is my partner. They they and I actually, funny. Okay, I get to tell my story. So I was actually in a completely different relationship, and I was exploring polyamory with this particular partner. So I was on the apps, swiping, and I decided to swipe right on a certain somebody's picture. I was like, oh, they're cute. And it wasn't until maybe about 2 years later that we actually met in person. Just so happened to be at like the trans wellness conference in Philly, and I shook their hand. I remember looking in their eyes, and I was just like, damn, they are beautiful. Like, completely, like, enamored in that moment. And from there, we just kind of just became friends. Um, like, they were very, very easy to talk to, and I had never been in a relationship or just a friendship where I could be completely all of my shit showisms and all of that. Like, I was able to be me 100,000% myself, and like I was here for it. So, from there it just grew. And I had a crush. Like, I hadn't had a crush in fucking years. Like, what? I was out here crushing. Like, who does that? Like, you're 30 years old. Like, who does this? But it was from there. It was like this beautiful relationship that came from a friendship and a swiping right on the
Okay.
app. I got lucky.
Um, how long have y'all been together?
We are coming up on how many years? 3.
I ain't fooling with y'all. I ain't fooling with y'all. I ain't.
Hey, fellas, don't be afraid to ask, because if you partake in anything cannabis, that memory might be shot to hell. Uh, this let's say, babe, I don't even remember what day did we get married. Put it up somewhere. Can we put the pamphlet up somewhere? Put the date on the refrigerator. Help me. I'm a big ass goofball,
I'm
y'all. I'm
telling you,
sorry.
I appreciate the story. I appreciate you bringing up the fact that you've been appreciated with all your shit showisms, because I'm very much a shit show kind of girl. So it gives me faith. It gives me hope. I've always been able to find people who can accept pieces of me, and maybe even large portions of me, but never all. Not yet, anyway. So when did you come to the idea of polyamory, before or during your relationship with your current partner?
Definitely before. I had been in a couple of relationships, one as what's called a hinge, which is both partners are dating me, but they don't necessarily intersect. So they have their own separate relationships with me, but they know that they share a boyfriend, which ended up being what myself and my partner and my ex-boyfriend actually ended up doing for a little while after we tried dating each other. Didn't work. But I think for me, it just allowed me to be able to have those moments that I enjoyed with each individual person. And I appreciate it. Like, I
I do.
appreciate the relationships. Like, I grow every time that I'm able to be
I
this
do that.
open and honest person
Are you
with
and remind me, how long has it been since you've broken up with your ex? How long ago was that?
Oh, that was actually recently. We broke up. This is gonna sound horrible. Right before his birthday, he broke up with me. What my fault? He choices, choices. Uh, no, but like, yeah, we broke up right before his birthday in October. Um, I was not a happy person about it. There was so much stuff going on at the time that I was just like,
Do you
I really, I don't want to do this. Like, okay, whatever. And I was kind of bitter for like maybe a month,
do
month and
you
a half.
think that polyamory, or your current relationship, your which seems to be a primary relationship. Did any of that affect the breakup? Was that
If I'm real, yes. So I was living in California for like a year. I had taken a job out in California, so I was closer to him um, for a good minute. And I would go to Portland where he was staying, and like I had time, and like we were talking about doing some things with his son. And when I made the decision to move back to Philly, it was I had to do this move for me. And I had a plan. I was supposed to move, but he was like, I'm not ready to live with anybody. And I respected that. But I went on to planning mode for me, which means I need to make sure that when I land, I have my job, I do all the things that I need to do when I go back home. And he felt like he was going to get pushed out of the picture. Um, so naturally, you try to, eradicate that pain before it happens. He started pulling away. We started beefing, and it's just kind of like more and more decline. So I kind of just leaned into getting myself together and working on my relationship that I hadn't really paid much attention to that I needed to.
so during
Um,
that period when you were um, on the West Coast, you kind of neglected your marriage, your primary relationship?
Neglected, yes, in some forms. It was more of there were decisions made by both parties not to really address what was going on with us, as opposed to allowing whatever was developing with our other relationship to be there. um and because we didn't address what was going on with us, it was waiting for me when I got here. So I wasn't coming home contrary to popular belief, which was what he believed, is that I was coming home to this plethora of goodness, when I was actually like, no, I'm running into the problems that I left almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, and him not understanding that kind of like led us to like split. And once he started dating his partner, he kind of transferred that energy. And I was just like, you know what? That's cool. Um, but we've been able to kind of talk about that and what that looks like and how we show up in each other's
It
lives
makes
now.
sense. I said makes sense because I explored non-monogamy in my past in dating, and for me, it ultimately didn't work out because I I have just my own insecurities, um, and I'm very big on communication. And like you said early on, communication is a big thing. Like I pursue my career and everything that I do professionally so hard that I already struggle to communicate in a relationship with one person. So it would be hard for me to date more than one person, and it would be hard for me to accept my partner dating multiple people.
Okay. I mean, it ain't for everybody. And for a while, I thought it wasn't for me, but like, again, it's being able to talk to that your person or talk to your people. If you're able to communicate and get those things off of you, because like a lot of the times, like communicating once in a relationship, we feel like it's bad and it's shameful because we should share the same things and we should want to share those things with our partners. But if we feel like it's selfish or something that only I want for me, like we feel like we can't share that. Um, but we do that when we cheat.
Mm-hmm.
We share those secrets, those things that we can't share with that primary partner, with this person, because you feel like it won't be.
Mm-hmm.
It's becomes a part of that secret. So instead of kind of like reenacting that kind of behavior, I started sharing my dirty secrets with the person that I know that can that can handle that, and that's the person that takes my good and my bad days, my ups and downs, sadness and depression, um, because depression and anxiety is real. especially for me as a
And
black
me as a
trans
black
man.
trans woman, I, no
Well,
judgment. I am very, very much like we're all not wired the same. We're all not built the same. Clearly, it's obvious we don't look the same. Why would we think and feel and operate in relationships the same? Um, but I forgot my damn question now. Jesus be a fan. No, Jesus be a cue card, bitch. Um, at this point, are you open to love with somebody else, or are you still focused on your marriage?
come on, manifestation. Um, so open to loving, I'm always willing to do. As far as bringing another partner into my life, partners is a little bit more responsibility. It takes a little bit more to it, unless they. So in my experience, solo poly folks are more like out of sight, out of mind. And it's okay for them to like exist and kind of float through, but like I don't know, like I feel like I want to be connected to that person and have some form of relationships, because again, this is not a sexual thing for me. I need more than that. I need a
Hmm.
genuine
Yeah,
connection with
I got the
somebody.
impression early on that it's not always sexual for you because you do the whole cuddle buddy thing.
I'm a big teddy bear. I love to cuddle. Like as a kid, that's been my thing. Like my grandmother believed in hugging me, so I was a
I
hugger.
remember my question now. White Jesus whispered it in my ear. What would you still consider yourself? Because I've had a lot of people come on and discuss non being open to non-monogamy in their relationships, being open to the idea of playing with other people or being intimate with other people, or being affectionate with other people during the course of a long-term relationship, but they don't necessarily consider themselves poly. Um, do you think that that is the case for you?
So the term I like to use for stuff like that is monogamish-ish. Um, I it I was it was an article that came down my timeline, and I read it. I was just like, that kind of makes sense. Um, so I think that was kind of like my introduction slowly, like for me personally, being able to share that with a partner, and then them saying, okay, well, we could play together. Like I'm down for, threesomes, but you can never play by yourself, and also ain't no doubling back. Like, it's play and go. Um, I wasn't really okay with that, because that brings up a contingency of new people every single time, and that's energy that I don't want. Ah, I'm just
That's funny that you bring that up because it's a lot of people who would be willing, who are more open to the idea or more accepting of the idea of it being someone anonymous, so there's lack of attachment. But you brought up the counterpoint that, yeah, there may be a lack of attachment, but it's also causing a revolving door situation. I never heard that counter. I never heard that counter, honey. I love to see it.